Remember PC Amelia Shearer, the pissed up plod accused of urinating in the Urban Outfitters changing rooms? Well, she faced her misconduct hearing this week over the allegations that she used the cubicle room as a litter tray and then lied about it to her superiors. Now, she must have had water retention issues, because when the judgment was given at the hearing, she started leaking from her eyes. I suppose it's better than leaking from her lady garden. It was described at the hearing how Shearer had a bottomless brunch at a bar, downed half a bottle of Prosecco and 3 cocktails, then a Jack Daniels and Coke at another venue in a 4-hour period, all before even heading to Urban Outfitters to take a leak. A member of staff from Urban Outfitters gave evidence at the hearing that Shearer asked if they had toilets, and upon telling her, "No, we don't," she immediately went into a cubicle and relieved herself on the carpet. Although they didn't know that's what she was doing at the time, but as she went into the cubicle with no clothes to try on, the staff member called a manager, who came and upon checking the cubicle spotted the wet patch and a smell of urine. Personally, I'd have dragged her back in and rubbed her fucking nose in it. Shearer denied the entire way through that she had pissed in the cubicle, but said she and her friend were loud and giggly. She claimed to have used the changing room to adjust her bra, but even that account she failed to give to her inspector when asked. Olivia Chekadova, acting for Cleveland Police, had told the panel the evidence against the officer was overwhelmingly strong. Much was the smell of her piss, and the 2 members of staff who gave evidence were telling the truth. Now, it's also interesting to note that PC Amelia PP Shearer wasn't even a full-on plod. She was still in training as a probationary police constable. The panel's legally qualified chair, Oggy, said the allegations of discreditable conduct and breaches of honesty and integrity against the officer were proven. Ms. Oggy said police officers are expected to maintain high standards of behaviour. They have to ask themselves if their actions might result in a member of the public losing confidence in the policing profession. Officers are required to act with integrity and honesty at all times. The retailer is said to have paid £492 to have the cubicle professionally cleaned, and the store's 9 fitting rooms had to be closed after she'd soiled the carpet and during the cleaning, causing them operational inconvenience. The panel did adjourn after the hearing on Wednesday to contemplate the punishment for her gross misconduct, which would generally be a final written warning or dismissal. Now, bearing in mind that Amelia PP Shearer is a probationary copper, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave her another chance by slapping her with a final written warning, but I have to ask myself why any employer would give somebody a second chance when they have completely disregarded everything the job means before they've even started. But this is the police after all, and hiring women and wrong-uns are their main priority at the moment, so I think a final written warning over dismissal. Just so you know, the writing of this part of the report you've just heard was written before I found out of the outcome. And now I have found out the outcome, and rather than rewrite the entire report, I've left it as is and just added this part onto it. The gross misconduct hearing found that PC Amelia PP Shearer was guilty of gross misconduct for pissing on the floor of the changing rooms of Urban Outfitters in York. And we left waiting to hear what the outcome of the panel's deliberations would be, and I was right. Even though she was found to have breached the standards of professional behaviour in relation to discreditable conduct and honesty and integrity, she was allowed to keep her job, and the panel issued her with a final written warning, rather than sending her packing with a dismissal. Exactly what we need. A copper with a weak bladder and trouble telling the truth. I mean, that's exactly how I would rebuild the trust with the police too. Cleveland Police. Ms. Oggy. Ms. Oggy said she is 24 years old. Well, she should have known better then, shouldn't she? There is scope for her to be rehabilitated. There is scope for her to set the record straight and to begin on a new path. So, whilst she was initially under investigation for criminal damage to the store, which, as you can tell, the CPS decided not to charge her, she lied to her superiors but has kept her job, even though the panel accepted Cleveland Police's submission that her culpability had been high and that her actions did harm the public's confidence in policing. Even Olivia Chekadova, representing Cleveland Police, told the panel its findings that the probationer had been dishonest meant she was now undeployable as an officer. But of course, that means nothing in the grand scheme of things and the grand scheme of wokeism in the police force.